What was your own personal interaction like that day when you saw Pam Bondi? I'm sure you spent some time with her. Like, how did she seem to you?
She was not well, let's just say this. In the days leading up to that meeting, this was during the time that President Trump was nominating his different cabinet secretaries in the upper echelon of his administration. I had made a list of who I thought was the best pick and, all the way down to who I thought were the worst picks. And Pam Bondi was towards the bottom of that list because I didn't think that she had the experience to deal with the swamp. I didn't think that she had a proven track record of outsmarting the swamp. I think she had shown incredible loyalty to President Trump during his impeachment proceedings. She'd been one of his attorneys, I believe. And that was essentially the reason it appeared that Trump picked her. So I didn't go in there. I went in there open-minded, but I didn't go in there thinking, oh my gosh, this is going to be the coolest meeting of all the meetings. Not that I was aware of who we were going to be meeting with in the first place. I walked next to her when we went from the cabinet secretary room, the meeting room across the hall to the Oval Office. I was the one who happened to walk next to Pam Bondi. And, she was talking to me a lot about what it had been like in the Department of Justice I think it had been 2 weeks since she had taken the oath of office. And she said she was tired. She hadn't done a lot of sleeping. And she did a lot of complaining about Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna to me because Congresswoman Luna had been asking a lot of questions about, hey, where are these files that were promised? How come I, as part of the Oversight Committee in Congress, am being excluded from the Department of Justice's effort to release these? And Pam Bondi did a lot of complaining about how Congresswoman Luna just didn't understand how this worked and these things take time. And didn't she understand how busy she was? And I have to say I was a little off put by that. I was just like, oh, okay, that's what you're focusing on, even though you have the Justice Department to run. Then when we were in the Oval Office, President Trump is introducing us. There were probably 20 other people in the Oval Office at the same time, in addition to us. And he's pointing people out. He's like, yeah, this is Stephen Miller. He's doing a great job. Oh, this is a hero, Tom Homan. He's doing a great job. And he's pointing out different people. And then I hear Attorney General Pam Bondi's voice from the back of the room. She was sitting on one of the sofas. She goes, what about me, Mr. President? And to be perfectly frank here, the thought that went through my mind was, wow, that was a real pick-me girl comment. I did not think that was a good reflection on the strength of her character. Now, you can say, okay, that's just a comment. Does that actually reflect on her ability at the Department of Justice or not? I don't know. I'll let you decide. But maybe it demonstrates her effort or her desire to be a mega champion and to be a Fox News star because she was demonstrating, again, a pattern of wanting attention.
Mm-hmm. And he did not give her the attention when he tweeted out about Dan and Cash last week when they came under fire. Was it as recently as Monday? I can't remember.
Yeah, it was after the memo.
It was after the release of the memo. It had to be because that's when they were getting pummeled. And he sent out a complimentary tweet about Kash Patel and Dan Bongino and notably said nothing about Pam Bondi. So I do wonder what the president thinks about all this and what the president knows. Haven't yet figured out whether this is a Trump directive thing, like we're moving on from Epstein for reasons we don't understand, whether they're intel reasons or other reasons. But I definitely think if the president said to these three, we're done with Epstein, it would explain all of the behavior of this past week, not Pam Bondi's behavior prior. Because that I do see a real split here, and I don't mean to just side with Bongino in this because I care about him and he's a friend. I don't know Kash Patel at all. I mean, if this is the logic, I'd throw anybody I don't know that well under the bus, then he should be under the bus too. But what I've seen since the beginning of the administration is those two guys who were very focused on Epstein prior to taking the roles have said nothing. They have said they have not done the little breadcrumb trail from the moment of taking office. They've said nothing. And the first thing we saw from them was on Fox and Friends, where we were all shocked to hear them saying he killed himself. I mean, that's just what the evidence is. And if you have something to prove me wrong, show me. But I'm telling you, you're going to see some. We saw Kash on Joe Rogan being like, if I had evidence of him with all these, little girls, or if I had a third parties with young girls, don't you think I'd show that to you? And Rogan seemed to be saying, so what you're saying is you don't have it. And Kash is basically just saying, if I have it, you'll see it. And we haven't seen it. So they didn't do what she did. And I've, over the course of the past 4 days, gotten to where you I think are, which is, I think she was thirsty for attention. I think she was enjoying the hits on Fox, on Hannity, on Waters, in the middle of the day with John Roberts and saying like, I've got all the answers on Epstein. I've got all the juicy dish and I'll be the one to give it to you, until she either found out that wasn't true and realized this is why attorneys general don't talk like this ever about their ongoing investigations ever. You almost never hear from attorney general. It's the one person in any administration, Republican or Democrat, who you really can't get. There's only so much transparency you're supposed to get from an attorney general, given the way criminal investigations work. And then realize like she had an oh shit moment of she's humiliated herself and the administration. Or again, I don't know, something else. Or it was real in the first place and now she's doing the lying. This, I don't know the truth on.
No, and I think there's a couple of things. I'm also friends with Dan Bongino, and I can say with confidence that he is one of the good guys. I actually appreciate that he has said so openly, listen, this is not about trust. You don't believe something just because you trust me. You wait for the evidence. And I think that we should be focusing a lot on that comment. I think that that's not only an incredibly humble comment and probably a very difficult comment for someone who's used to being able to set the record straight. I think there's a lot more to that comment that meets the eye. I also don't know Kash Patel personally. I liked his book. I like what he said. We have to remember, though, that his boss is Attorney General Pam Bondi. So there's only so much that you can do. There's only so much that you can do in those positions if your boss is giving you a directive or to contradict your boss publicly. So maybe that's me extending too much benefit of the doubt there, but I think that's a possible explanation. I do think that the base, President Trump's voter base, would have accepted more readily just an honest analysis. When Dan Bongino and Kash Patel took over the FBI, I mean, I know a lot of people at the upper echelons of the FBI and the Department of Justice now, and I was told on good authority that it's like a thermonuclear bomb was set off in there, that they walk in and they don't even know where the locks are, let alone having the keys to unlock those locks.
They're being undermined.
They are, and there's been evidence destruction. There's been the hiding of evidence. So if these individuals, Pam Bondi is the one that I think is the buck stops with Pam Bondi. She's the one directing this narrative. She could have said, "Listen, we got in here, and the Epstein files are empty. We don't know why. We don't know if it was destroyed or hidden or if the investigation was done negligently. We don't know whether there was a cover up, but we do want to be honest with you and say, no, we can't produce the dirt that you expected because we don't have it." Megyn, that's very different than giving us this definitive statement like, none of these things are true. A client list doesn't exist. He definitively killed himself. What?
And almost like you guys are idiots for thinking otherwise. Like there's a tonality in there that it's like, what kind of an idiot would be pursuing this at this point? The other piece that's really been irritating me is how she keeps being like, okay, we found these tens of thousands of pictures of child sexual assault material, and no one is ever going to see that. No one's getting, as if that is what anybody wants to see. Like she's trying to like diminish the demands for more information by pretending what people want is to see the child pornography that Jeffrey Epstein enjoyed looking at. It's such a straw man. No one would ever expect the DOJ or want the DOJ to release that. She's just pretending that like the demands on her are so unreasonable because that's what these so-called influencers seem to be wanting from her. That's not it at all. She said there was a whole treasure trove of documents before she even knew, apparently, that there were all these pictures of child sexuals. She was saying there's a ton of other stuff that you're going to get before it appears even Pam Bondi understood that Epstein had troves of child pornography on his computer.
Yeah. And by the way, that post that it was a long post. It was like as long as an op-ed that I posted. I think it was later that same day. I think I wrote it like rage texting it on the airplane on my flight home, posted it when I landed that day in February after the White House when I was talking about this is the real story, like understand the context of everything that happened. The way that I described what was expected from the SDNY, I phrased very carefully because I used only phrases that had been used to me that day. Meaning, I don't have the post up in front of me, but if I said photos, it's because Pam Bondi said photos. If I said videos, it's because Pam Bondi said videos. I didn't list everything that everyone wanted to see and just recklessly said, oh, it's in that. I only listed the things that the SDNY was supposed to be in possession of because that's what I was told by Pam Bondi, who hadn't seen it, that's what the SDNY was going to deliver to her.
Since President Trump was sworn in, his administration has made enormous progress at a breakneck pace. But don't forget, while they're moving mountains for the good of the nation, you've got your own personal savings to worry about. And one of the best ways to look after your savings is through diversification, particularly with gold, like from Birch Gold Group. In the past 12 months, the value of gold has increased by 40%. OMG. Central banks continue to bolster demand for gold by buying in record quantities. Global instability and tension is high, and Birch Gold makes owning physical gold extremely easy. Easily convert an existing IRA or 401k into a tax-sheltered IRA in physical gold, or buy some to store in your home safe. Just text MK to the number 989898 and Birch Gold will send you a free info kit on gold. There's no obligation, just useful information. With an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau and tens of thousands of happy customers, take control of your savings today. Text MK to the number 989898. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.